All right. Now this session, as always, ladies and gentlemen, will have amazing visionaries, leaders whose passion, creativity, and impacts make us all incredibly proud today. So yes, South Indian Media Summit 2025 launches with unstoppable energy. So may I invite on stage Mr. Anand, co-founder, Sweet Karam Coffee, Mr. Manigandan, founder and CMD Aditya Developers, Mr. Vijay Sunku, director, Parimal Mandir, Ms. Geeta Ramakrishnan, co-founder, Seven Doors to Heaven, and this session will be moderated by Mohit Joshi, CEO, Havas Media Network India. Ladies and gentlemen, with a nice, thunderous round of applause as we kickstart the very first session.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the South India Summit, something that Shankar, Bharat and team have been doing fabulously for the last so many years. So a big round of applause to them once again, please. Sitting here, we don't realize the amount of effort that goes behind creating it. And yesterday, a few of us were saying that it's become like an annual, the way you go to a temple once in a year, you have to go to Shankar's South India Summit. So it's like a tirth, as we call it. And we do it because of the love and relationship that we have with him. When he calls you, you cannot say no. So having said that, I'm really humbled to be here sitting with such leaders in the industry, and the discussion that we are going to be doing is around decision making, something that you are doing practically every day, many times. And I want to understand from each one of you on the various nuances of decision making. Some say that you can't make decisions based on fear, the possibility of what might happen. Some say the art of decision making includes the art of questioning. And everybody has a different way of decision making. And the way the environment has been changing, the fast changing business environment, I think decision making is also becoming so much more complex, because initially if a decision could be taken for a longer period of time, today you have to decide on a daily basis. So I want to first understand what is decision making as per you guys. So Mr. Anand, as a founder of a fast scaling consumer brand, how do you define informed decision making in your day-to-day business?
Thanks, Mohit. First of all, I take a minute to thank Shankar and for this opportunity. It's an honor to be on the stage amidst all the stalwarts. So thank you so much, Shankar. Thanks, Mohit, for the opportunity. So as a startup, for us, time is gold. I think decision making to us is the balance of speed and thought. It's a fine balance between using logical reasoning and data, and with a leap of faith. So it's a clear balance between both. While the logic gives me the confidence, the belief gives the courage to take a decision. So it's very important for us. And I strongly believe that any decision that is not taken within the time has no value to it. And for us being in food industry, the trend keeps changing, not even previously it was quarter, it was months. Now it keeps changing every day, depends on weather, mood, and a lot of trends keeping changing day by day. So you need to be on the toes. By the time you take the decision, the trend would have already become outdated. So it's a fine balance between speed and thought.
Well said, sir. Well said. Sir, Vijay sir, and you have a legacy business, legacy category like agarbattis. Do you feel decision making is more about experience and intuition than data? While, the gentleman here talked about data and said that, everything has to be data driven. You, in your experience, how do you manage the balance between data and intuition?
See, for a new age companies like Sweet Karam Coffee, it would be much more easier to decide because of a new age being in place, and largely it is data-driven decisions which will be easier for them to make. But for a legacy companies like us, which is a 75-year-old company, we have a balance of old age theory and the new age Gen Z management. And what makes a big challenge for us is all these decades of our existence, the decision-making process was purely based on experience. Due to the unavailability of data in those times. But now the challenges are much more complex. The data is in place, and you have, on the other hand, the experience which we largely believed all along. So this is a very challenging thing to match our decisions with the new age people who are managing today at the desk level. So being data driven, in place, decisions making process will be more complex, more focused and a rightful decision. Whereas the experiential decisions would have been much more based on faith, based on experience, which could not necessarily always be successful. But data driven decisions are always very focused. At least if you are not successful, you are there at least 60-70% of what you decide or take decisions. So that way, for a company, legacy companies like us, it is, we are also into the change of, in the times of transition. So probably certain times it helps in both ways, certain times it may not be good, but overall, way forward, it would be always data-driven than the experience.
Thank you, Vijay sir. That's very well said. And the way you balance the two of them is absolutely important, and that comes with your experience. Mani sir, I'll come to you. And, in real estate, which is a very different category than all the others, where projects can run into years and years, and there's a huge financial and emotional involvement, huge financial stakes that are there. Do you believe sometime delaying a decision or waiting out can actually be smarter? While, Anand sir over here said that a decision that is not made on time is not a decision at all. So, while that's one category, but I wanted to know about your category. Do you think something like that works? Would it be a smarter move to not take a decision at some point in time or delay it? And if yes, do you have some examples that you could share with us?
Sometimes the decision we wait for the decision to make from the others really helps us in some time. But as a first generation entrepreneur, how fast we make decisions is how fast we grow. So I basically believe the number of decisions we make is the faster we grow. So I believe on taking decisions very fast.
Okay. Even in this category, you saying that decision has to be made fast.
Has to be taken very fast.
Perfect. So we are all on the same page on that. Decisions have to be made fast. They have to be data driven, though we should be, driven by insight as well. Now I want to come into a very important point, ma'am. Conflict and mediation in leadership, because you are a leadership coach, and from your perspective, what is the biggest mistake that leaders make while trying to resolve conflicts? Because when a decision has to be made, there will be conflicts, because it's not one person who's taking a decision. There will be a board, there will be a set of members, and conflict is a natural outcome of that. So I want to know from you, how do you resolve conflicts? What are the biggest mistakes that leaders make while trying to resolve?
See, as leaders, it's natural because you're leading. But the moment you take a pause and you step back and try and understand the other person's perspective, you don't have to agree with it, that will help in the conflict management a lot. And more than that, I would also say the tone of your voice. When you are entering a conflict or during that, you just be more calm, and I think it will have a better resolution.
Absolutely. Anand, in your industry, you're an entrepreneur. Of course, decision making, you said fast decision making is inevitable, and completely agree with you. How do you resolve conflicts? I'm sure there would be many, and what are your mantras of resolving conflicts whenever they happen?
I think conflicts are a part of a decision making. When you say, I would say conflicts as a different point of views rather than seeing it as a conflict. I think it encourages better decision making, because multiple point of views for the same challenge gives you a very different perspective. I would in fact flip the whole table and say that you need to have conflicts while taking the decision. So far it is constructive, and conflicts helps you to take better decisions.
That's fabulous, and I agree with it, because, the more I mean, obviously one aspect is too many cooks spoil the broth, but at the same time, if there are right people in the room taking decisions and you are able to moderate it well, as she said, use the tone, manner and get the best out of it, the decision can be the best. Mani sir, you know, in your sector, which is, you're constantly managing multiple stakeholders, buyers, contractors, architects, and sometimes even family dynamics. How do you mediate when the voices clash? And what does conflict resolution in the housing industry look like?
Sir, in any organization, the conflict is part of your business. Every day you have conflicts, but everything can be solved. When an organization, everybody in the HODs have a one vision of making the organization big, and everybody is aligned to the organization, the conflict can be solved when everybody is aligned to a one matter. So where the KPI and KRIs and the goal setting plays a vital role. So when we sit and talk, everything can be solved at a single note, sir. We should not delay when the conflict is going to be in the higher version.
Ma'am, I'll come back to you, and you know, this is slightly progressing on that. With leadership, conflict management, and pressures comes burnout, right? So, and you know, that's something that you've spoken about a lot, I think, in your work. So, why is it happening so often today? While we all know, but I want to understand it from a leadership coach's perspective. And what are we all chasing? And what is your perspective when you talk to leaders around this space?
It's a great question because, see, as leaders, you're chasing mostly professional success, and what you focus on is what you will get. But then it comes with a cost because by chasing something, you're putting yourself in constant stress 24 hours. And when you're in stress, you go into what I call a fight or flight mode. And that costs a lot of energy that is drained from your body, from your mind. But having said that, what can you do about it, right? So the easiest thing to do is at least focus 1 hour on yourself. Very often we forget to do that, take care of our own self. Something that gives you happiness, it could be reading, cooking, it's very creative. So it balances that stress and gets a sort of calm. And it's almost like a vagal nervous reset when you're doing things that are very creative and very relaxing, even breathing slowly. All small things. They are not very great things, like you're focusing your attention on physical health and eating healthy. You can also do all these small things to get that balance.
I need to meet you after this session for sure. You know, now I'll come to you, sir. Veer sir, you know, I'm sure you have also in your long journey seen burnouts happening to yourself and people around you. How have you dealt with it?
In this corporate world, every day is a very stressful day. Why? Because end of the day, only thing the corporate world understands is the numbers.
Absolutely.
So in the process, how well you define orderliness and doing things which really doesn't burn out is what matters. But again, without stress, nothing can come or fall in your plate so easily. So that burnout is very essential. But again, I think the corporate world is much mature enough to take this pressures within, and they know each one what to do for themselves to keep that calmness in control, not to allow the pressures going down the line. And end of the day, each one are managing on their own and in different ways that they think that it fits them well.
Very well said, sir. Very well said. You know, Anand, I want to ask you, as a young founder yourself, and I'm sure your team will also be young, right? And I might get shot for saying this, but the young, you know, the Gen Zs get burnt out far faster than us. You know, we've still not burnt out or managed to sustain somehow, but the Gen Zs get burnt out very fast. So I'm sure there must be so many examples of people under you say, I've burnt out, where's my work-life balance? At least I see that a lot in my team. So, how do you manage this pressure of constant decision making without a burnout, and also managing it with your team, which I'm assuming is going to be a much younger team than the other industries, with them as well?
Yes, absolutely. Our team is, I think the average age of our team is around 30.
Yeah.
But the only thing is like, I think the culture comes into place here.
Okay.
For us, the entire team is like a family. And there is a lot of freedom to fail. And we empower every single person in the team to become the founder. Because at the end of the day, it's very important to create next level leaders here. So, and we are quite spiritually inclined. And for us, the brand is like an altar and work is like worship. So when your work becomes a prayer and work is not a work anymore, it becomes an expression. So there is no term called a burnout. In fact, you enjoy taking decisions and it's a part of your worship. So I think it's more like a family. Our entire team is a family. And I think we empower them to take decisions with the freedom to fail. And we focus on just the process because most of the results are not in our control, but the processes. So we focus on the process, and we truly believe that work should be an expression and work should not be work.
Very well said. And I'll come to your point on work as worship, as well as the fact that everybody is empowered to be a founder himself. Manisa, I want to ask you, in traditional industries like real estate, where again legacy, family expectations, community reputation play a very big role. Does burnout manifest differently, or is it the same?
So burnout, as a founder, we are creating something new. So we will not feel that burnout because as a first generation entrepreneur, fire on our belly, we doesn't feel. But the second level, the management team should not feel burnout. We have to set the second level in command very strong, where they take care of the organization in a very good manner, and every layer is filled with that confidence. Then the burnout rate in the team is very low, where they take care, they solve the problem. They will not come to the management for solving problems. And the HR played a vital role in it by keeping employee engagement as a very vital role. So in our organization, as he said, our average age is around 33 in our organization. So people love their job. They do what they want. When they have a correct, clear route, what they want to do it on a daily basis, then the burnout rate is very less. So in our organization, it's very, very less.
Great. I'm happy to hear this. I want to work in places like this myself. And, you spoke about culture, and I think I want to pivot my next question to that. Culture plays a very important role in building the ecosystem in which employees and employer work. And this is where, burnout, we understood, is something that's possible, that's going to happen. Some bit of it is important, some bit of pressure is important, that also came across. And this is where the importance of mental health and mental health awareness comes into play, right? Something that has been really not spoken about in India, in the West it is. I think mental health has become a very important thing. In fact, it's gone to the other end. But in India, it's still a very hush-hush topic. But I've seen over the last, especially after COVID, people have realized the importance of mental health for themselves as well as for their employees. And there is a lot that has happened. So I'll come to you, ma'am, and I'll ask you about, while initially Women's Day, Valentine's Day, all those things used to, be a big buzz. Even today it is. Do you think that we are giving adequate importance to Mental Awareness Day the way it should be given? And why do you think Mental Awareness Day is still being underplayed? Because I personally feel it's being underplayed in the leadership, even otherwise. Your point of view on that?
So it's easy to celebrate Women's Day, for example. Yesterday was actually Daughter's Day. So all you have to do is, get roses, go out for dinner, and it's great. Whereas when you take mental awareness, it requires you to introspect and find out what your weaknesses are. And people in general, especially leaders, are a little averse to doing that. But having said that, I'm so happy to be in this medium where media is covering all this. We are spreading that mental health is equally important as physical health, and it's the awareness that helps at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I want to ask all of you, starting from you, Anand, do you integrate mental health well-being into your into your company's culture? Because you spoke about the culture, and I'm assuming that it will be important, or is it still a very soft topic?
I think it's your mental awareness. I think it shouldn't be decoupled with your org fundamentals or culture, because it's a part. And we don't speak mental awareness much because we are all personally connected. The entire team is personally connected. Because if you start giving importance to the personal life, even in office, if you stay connected, if you don't understand each other personally, then I don't think there will be a conflict, and there won't be a burnout, and there won't be a discussion about mental awareness. Because if you have each other's back, not just in personal life, but also in personal life, not just in professional life, but also in personal life, because that's where your culture comes into place. For us, we call SKC as one family, and we are truly one family till now, and whatever it is, being professional disputes, whatever it is, we reach out to each other, and I think we have each other's back covered. So I think the mental well-being is a part of the culture, and that's a fine thread that connects all of us and that binds all of us together.
Vijay sir, I want your point of view again, a legacy business, and maybe 15, 20 years back, mental health awareness was not something that was important. But now it is becoming important, especially when, a younger generation is also coming into the industry. So what are your thoughts, and how do you implement it in your specific industry and your business?
Mental health, largely I would pursue it as it is a new age terminology. At least in India, as you said, in West it could have been, but at least in India, generations have passed, and with this work culture methodology. But the new age terminology of what we call mental health remains only on words than in practice, because generations have passed working in the culture that each institution or organizations have established, and when there is a proper defining responsibilities and roles for the individuals to work in the organizations, then I don't see there is any issue of mental health. Just because it is a new age terminology, everywhere people talk about it. So you have, a new kind of seminars, conclaves talking about such issues. But practically, it is like a non-existent, at least in Indian culture, at least in South India.
Okay. So, now I want to start a conflict in this group. Ma'am, I want your perspective on that.
Well, I don't disagree, because what I hear from Anand, right, is that culture that you're creating, and which was existing in the last generation and the generation before, which is changing now. It's not about stopping what is to change, but as things change, we need that support system which was there, and now it's in the form of mental awareness specifically.
So what you're saying, that since the society is changing, the value systems are changing, and the work culture is also changing slowly, in fact not slowly, actually much faster, you feel that there is a need for mental health awareness. And
Yes.
Vijay sir says that, it's something that has been, because, why he's saying that, I know, because mental health has also been taken to the other extreme, right? And we all know what we are talking about. So there has to be a balance of mental health. And my personal perspective is mental health is very important, but it has to be balanced. It should not, be leveraged for everything. A work is given to you and you say, I can't do it because it's conflicting with my mental health. That could be an issue, and it is happening, honestly. So I think somewhere it's important. I want to understand your perspective, Mani sir. What is your perspective on this? How do you see this evolving in your industry, the mental health awareness, and Do you have certain perspectives or some ways of assessing that for your people?
So it's not how strong you are physically, it's how strong you mentally decides how strong person you are. So in our organization also we face today many problems, many youngsters are there. Once a small problem could not solve, they get stressed and they are very much agitated. So for this in our organization we are maintaining a strong policy of making to learning and development, to HR we are giving a strong training for making people to solve, how to solve their problem, how to handle their problem, how to bring their problem to the management. Many people doesn't bring the problem to the management. Keeping the problem with them itself is causing a mental stress for them. So once the problem is solved, they're mentally very strong. Once the problem cannot be solved, they're mentally very weak. So in any organization, once we tell from lower employee to any higher employee to bring the problem or solve the problem, we train themselves, the mental stress goes very low. So that is a perspective from my side.
Okay, and this is a very important topic. Sorry.
And the culture also plays a vital role.
Absolutely. So I just want to ask one more question to all of you, and this is because we at Havas, we feel mental health is becoming very, very important, and we also have counselors who our employees can talk to whenever they want. And I see that happening a lot in younger organizations because the possibilities of burnout and stress are significantly high, and maybe the way it's expressed is also very different. In the earlier generations, people were stressed, but they were not even talking about it. Nobody knew that they were under stress and they were under mental pressure. But today, the generation talks about it, and hence it's important to address it for the right reasons. So I want to understand from each one of you, would you be happy if your employees ask you to have a counsel, mental health counsel for them on a phone call or something like that?
Not really sure on this because for us how it operates currently is we have a cultural committee here. So we have people who are assigned to be the ambassadors of the culture. So it is an in-house, I would say it's an in-house team that we have. And we have chosen a few individuals who will be the ambassador of this culture and who will make sure that the team is empowered, motivated, every small win is celebrated so that people don't burn out. And we believe that if you understand everyone personally, understand what's going through in their personal life, and I think most of the mental awareness or the mental burnouts are solved. But however, it's always good to keep listening to your team, keep listening about what's happening, what's going through in the background to solve for this.
Sure. Vijay sir, quickly your comments on that. Would you be okay to have a counselor on call for your employees?
I don't think we need to get into that extreme of appointing counselors to handle such issues. Because I believe totally it is an individual perspective. And more so, the days when decades back, going to office was to attend your responsibilities there. And today, going to work and to attend to your responsibilities is termed as mental health issues. So, it is nothing to do with any of mental health, but rather you take that your work and the culture and the atmosphere that you are working in is in right frame. And I don't think this could be a bigger issue. Largely, I believe this is a media creation than at the practical ground level.
Thank you, sir. Mani sir, your point of view? Would you be okay to have a counselor on call for your employees?
No, sir. Bringing in that level and solving the problem is not a good culture in the company. It's preventing without happening is a good culture. So giving them their clear visions, clear goal, clear role clarity, and what they do, what they should not do, gives us the best culture of working. That itself will solve all the problem and which will not lead them to go to the counselor level. That is not a good organization. Creating all problem and taking them to the counselor is a worst company or culture. It can be fit, so it's wrong. So giving them the clarity, giving them the vision, giving them the correct goal, what you are expecting out of them, each and everybody. So once they have everything on the air, I think they can deliver good where they are not taken to that stage.
Ma'am, I know, thank you. Ma'am, I know your answer, but still I would want you, would you want to differ or would you want to align?
I just want to say that if you take or have a look at top leaders, they in fact have more than one coach. So it is a show of strength rather than weakness.
Thank you. I respect all your point of views because, you know, there's nothing right or wrong and it's a very, very soft topic.
A big round of applause for the wonderful moderator and panelists.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We have a book because she's a prolific author herself. So from a wholesome session to how to live in a wholesome way, we have books coming your way. So here it is.
Perfect.
The Game of Change, ladies and gentlemen, by Geeta Ramakrishnan. I love how you spoke about the vagus nerve. There's a very simple thing that we do in India. It's called pranayama to take care of your vagus nerve, by the way. It's beautifully said, Geeta ma'am. And to honor this wonderful panel and moderator, may I please invite on stage Mr. Narasimhan and Mr. Unnikrishnan from Asianet News to please join us on stage. A big round of applause, such prominent speakers, and more importantly, what an amazing session. Thank you for joining us. We'll felicitate Mr. Anand first, the co-founder of Sweet Karam Coffee. Thank you so much, and Mr. Vijay to do the honors. Thank you so much, Mr. Vijay Sunku. And to honor Ms. Geeta Ramakrishnan up next. Thank you so much, Mr. Narasimhan and Mr. Unnikrishnan for joining us. And to the wonderful group here, can you just step forward for a nice big group photo with the books? It'll be wonderful. LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, if you're loving what you're seeing and hearing. What a fab session. It's wonderful to see counselors being part of your organizations, to taking care of your mental health. Very, very well said. Thank you so very much once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we move on to our next session, which will spotlight business strategies, contingency plans, and negotiating positions for the media and entertainment sector. And the panelists for this session are trailblazers, shaping business and innovation. And for this, I invite on stage Mr. Vivek Nabisan, Managing Director, Nabisan's Dairy Private Limited, Mr. Ganesh Ram, MD and Chief Executive Officer, MF Utilities, Mr. Shrikant Ramani, Director, SGR 777 Foods Private Limited, Mr. KB Balamurli, COO, Transworld Dubai, UAE, to please join us on stage. And we have Mr. Karthik Sharma, Group CEO, Omnicom Media Group, will be moderating this session. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the second session, and you know how fabulous it has been, so give them a nice big round of applause as we welcome them on stage.
Firstly, Vanakkam, Coimbatore. Thank you for inviting us. Big thanks to Shankar, Bharat and the entire team for a fabulous South Media Summit. Except last year, every year I've been here and I'm deeply grateful to him and his team. It's so good to see some old friends and make some new friends in the bargain, and also more importantly learn from each other's experience. So thank you, Shankar. I've known Shankar for more than 2.5 decades. I won't call him a media partner. He's like an elder brother to me. So thank you for being a wonderful human being the way you are. And with that, I'm deeply honored to be with some of the best leaders in the country running some fantabulous businesses. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions and actually in the process learn from all of them. So first is request, check all your mics. Thank you, Mohit, for sticking to time. It's not easy, but I will try my best to stick within the time. So let me kickstart by asking a question which anyone can go and answer. Actually, there's a lot, if you see the crowd here, a mix of very senior people and some youngsters. It's a good crowd. With rapid, digitalization and digital acceleration, how do you see that play out for your respective businesses in terms of, and also heightened consumer expectations? What is your single most important priority as a leader and how are you aligning your respective organizations to deliver on the expectations? Anyone can start and then build on each other.
Yeah. Hi, Karthik. Thank you for that question. So I think, right, jumping into your question, I think you just need to be relevant at this point of time. And, to be relevant, you need to embrace change. Right. So I was also attending a leadership program by the LMI Institute. And I was actually fascinated by one of their bylines, which said, challenge to change and changed to challenge. Right? So I think I would just want to go by that. And to answer your second question on how do you align yourself, your organization for this, I think in one word, I think it's just going to be how it's preparation, right? And how well you're going to prepare your organization. Because I believe that, the will to succeed is important, but the will to prepare is vital. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Can I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. As we all know that change and disruption is here to stay. We have to embrace it. I would like to quote our chairman, Mr. Ramesh. In Transworld, he always tells us that what has got you here will not get you there. And past glories cannot guarantee future success. So we follow something called a 3LC principle, which is basically life cycle management. So there is a product life cycle, there is a process life cycle, and there is a people life cycle. So if you draw parallels from the industry, we have seen cases of market leaders in the mobile industry who were wiped overnight when the touch phones came because they were not agile and nimble enough to look at the reality hitting them. In terms of the process, when is the last time we have gone to a bank? ATMs, from physical tokens to draw cash to ATMs, now it's all online, we don't even handle cash. So the process keeps changing. And third most important element is the people, because people are the fundamental for any enterprise. And people, your own employees and the customers, we have to evolve. People have to adapt themselves to the growing realities. We can't stick with fixed mindsets that, I will still work on paper. Technology is evolving very fast. And also in terms of customers, the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas are the kids who are going to be the customers and employees of tomorrow, who have grown up not on feeding bottles, but on the apps. So that is where the organization, the thought process has to be aligned to the changing times to be relevant. Thank you.
Hi, Karthik. It looks like one of the most relevant topic which you have pitched in, and that's what the previous session was also into. So, see, I belong to a generation where I have seen right from a postcard to all these kind of digital gadgets which are happening as of today. It all depends on what kind of product mix you have and what kind of population mix you have in terms of consumption of the product which you have. So, I belong to a community, a company which handles ethnic packaged food. So in an ethnic packaged food, when the consumer preferences gets changed, yes, digital is happening. So the digitalization part is not a paradigm shift. It's an organic shift which I'm seeing. And when you see a transformation happening from a pager to a cell phone to a more accessible gadgets where communication is at real time, the change happens right with the population metrics in connection with the product which you handle. So for us, we at 777 Foods, what we handle is engaging the consumers in connection with the product what we have so that it reaches the last mile of the tier 4 or tier 5 cities or a small villages where we can reach our product. So that's exactly what we focus at from 777.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you, Karthik. I think I'm little odd man out because I only come from the financial industry, right? So everything happens now and finally the money comes to us for the investment. So I'm kind of quite different.
Or the other way around.
The other way around. Yeah. So then we make little more money and give it to you, right? Yeah, but I think, I represent mutual fund industry in India. I don't think, unless if you are not going to embarrass the technology, investors or the people have a lot of choices. You are going to be the loser. Basically, you need to just quickly move on. Because today, if you look at from an investment point of view, there are so many apps we have and so many technology we have. All you need to put your PAN number and everything is there. right? So you should be very, very agile. You need to be well prepared for managing technology. Change is anyway part of the game, but technology is something which I don't think, like what others are told, absolutely, from a process, people, from an organization point of view, everything has become digital, even payment. So hardly we see any paper or any cash. So I was just looking at when I was coming from those, people are standing outside of ATM. So I was just wondering when I actually went to ATM. So I don't think it's been, it's been probably after COVID, after that thing we're not done. So I think it's actually going on a very, very disruptive manner. I think it's very much critical for us, not only as a leaders, but also the entire population to kind of adapt to technology. And it's going to be the way forward. So
Wonderful. I think the importance of how digital is all-pervasive and touching various industries is well articulated by all of you. But you also used an interesting word called disruption. And so let me build on that and ask a question on a fairly disruptive world and volatile world from each one of you from your very different set of industries. So first question is to Mr. Vivek. With global volatility impacting commodities, what kind of safeguards are you building to ensure sustained growth for a heritage brand like yours? Do you see growth coming more from regional markets or other opportunities outside white spaces, new categories?
So how I look at it is, I go back to the vision of the brand, which says preserve the integrity of the food as it is meant to be. Now, keeping that vision, right? You really need to, when growth comes, you need to grow. And you're talking about sustainable growth, which means you need to sustain that growth in terms of your quality, in terms of your pricing, in terms of your profitability, and in terms of reaching out to new customers, right? So across the spectrum, you need that. So if I have to really look at it, yes, you need the regional depth to get into the, which is very important for your sustained growth, as well as we are very mindful of getting into the other categories in terms of the health and the food space, the wellness space. So I think it's a combination, and the sustainable growth is what all of us are striving for.
So good. I think you are echoing some of the principles that we have been learning in marketing of growth, coming not from only one sector, and actually you're opening up the market and looking at new categories. I think it's great to know. My next kind of point is to Mr. Ganesh Ram. In the financial services, as you rightly said, markets fluctuate. I was just looking at the markets and slight smile because compared to the week it was, the markets are looking up. At least 5 minutes back, I don't know now what has happened. How do you ensure MF Utilities grows sustainably while maintaining compliance and investor trust? And also, we read a lot of media noise around, SIPs coming down in some months. So it's a tough business, the amount of redemption which happens. So how do you sustainably grow and keep your investor trust also?
Yeah, the better way is don't look at the market, right? So just be happy, and if the moment you're going to go to the market, obviously your BP will go up and all those stuff. So better to, but the one good thing is, I just want to ask the audience, as an industrialist, a lot of people are there. How many people have invested or put your money in mutual fund? Probably this portion is not, that this portion is there.
Just one disclosure, I'm your customer. I use MF Utilities.
No, yeah. So what I'm saying is, I think the better way is to kind of stay invested. SIPs is one of the best. So if you look at India, so it's quite unique. Only 6 to 8% of the household income comes into mutual fund. Whereas in US, if you see, it's around 78%. So there is a huge gap between the Western country and what we have. But I think before COVID, it was not even 1%. Now it has gone to around 8%. I think things are moving on. From a market point of view, I think the beauty of mutual fund is the most transparent product. So I always say, sorry if there are any bankers here. So I always tell people, when you go and invest in a bank, say 10,000, then if you can go and ask the bank manager, where is my 10,000? Can you show me? Absolutely, bank cannot, right? But in the mutual fund, you know where your money is, which fund it has invested, which companies have invested, how the company is doing. It's very transparent. And if you look at the way Indian economy also grown, always if there is a down, now due to the Trump issue, there's a lot of exchanges, there's a Palagam attack happened. So market go down, but immediately it goes up also, right? And particularly with whatever analysis we have, the next 20 years to 30 years, India is going to be a golden period, particularly in the capital market. So I would strongly suggest don't look at the market, keep investing, and things will automatically happen. So
Thanks. I don't look at it, but I just wanted to look before I asked you that question. So thank you for that, and it's a great platform for those of you if you have not used MF Utilities. And this is not an endorsement. I do not get paid by them. Let me make all the usual disclaimers in a public forum. Next question is to Mr. Balamurali. How do you prioritize, profitability while managing the, like a dual challenge of rising costs and almost unpredictable global trade flows, particularly in your line of business?
So rising cost, global volatility is every day we face it. So what we actually do is we don't, of course, profit is important, but when you prioritize the customers, when you prioritize governance, when you prioritize your brand, profit becomes a natural byproduct. Further dwelling into this, prioritizing customers. So we don't provide logistics services, but logistics solutions. So how does the customer and the customer's customer make profit? When you start thinking from that lens, you naturally become the preferred partner for the customer. From a governance perspective, ESG is something very, very important. Sustainability is the key. The customers, the employees of today and tomorrow, they are very much aware of what kind of product they are buying. I know my kids, they don't go to certain retail chains because the labor practices there are not fair. So this is how the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas are thinking. And talking about the brand image is most important because it's often the customers or your partners pay a premium if your brand value is really at the peak. So these are three factors which are very important. When you focus on these three, the profit and the growth comes automatically.
Great to know. I think great brands are built on, focusing on the consumer, like you rightly said, and putting them in front and not compromising on quality. Great message for everyone. A question to Mr. Srikanth. Similar to what I asked Mr. Balamurali, with consumers becoming more experimental in the food business, in which inflation has been pinching household budgets. It's an unfortunate reality for most of us here. How do you balance innovation with affordable pricing? And my second part of the question is, how do you see the future growth for your business coming from? Is it more on exports or premiumization of your products, or offering more local offerings to our local market?
So, this question is technically, it is shot to me on a very specific note, I believe. So, I address both the part one by one. So I take the first part where innovation in terms of the product price per se. So innovation has to keep on happening. So for a company like ours, a recipe of a particular product, to be honest, has to be changed because of the palatability. What kind of food and the taste of the food which my seniors, my fathers or my grandfather had, which we have formulated a recipe, being a 70-year-old brand, would not be in today's generation or to the next generation. So it is not only the recipe per se, it involves all the packaging part, the innovation in terms of product offerings which we do, and also the convenience of the product in terms of the utility of the same product which is being handled. So what we do from our company point of view is we ensure that we retain the core functionality of any particular product per se, but we still keep on changing the finer nuances based on towards palatability. Yes, on doing that, what happens is there's a kind of a cost element which involves, but then the scale most of the time takes care of it. The sourcing strength takes care of it most of the time, and therefore big is always beautiful for us. And for the second point of second question, the second part of the question which you pitched in, for us, we are a product mix company. We are not a single product company. So unless and until we are into all the three definitions, we cannot be successful is my point of view, because international business, yes, it has to be there, But thanks to a lot of efforts which is happening, in terms of GST, which helps us helps us a lot, because the product cost to the end consumer definitely comes down, especially for a product category where I am in. And the protection of the country's immigrant policy followed by many other countries, which is happening in many other countries where we are predominantly present, makes us think very loud that vocal for local is getting its aggression, and therefore we always believe on grassroots. So we always take a major chunk of our business which comes from the Indian business, and a reasonable portion is always comes from the international, because we are bound to cater to the Indians who go to the international soil. We take that as a responsibility. They need our traditional sambar or your pudis and all those stuff. So it's all holistically driven. It's a product mix again per se. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think the focus on being in India, of what you said in your category or what Ram alluded to earlier, the opportunity which exists in India and the government's plan of Viksit Bharat. I think it's fantastic. A forum like this or any other forum in the recent past is not complete without asking the favorite two-letter question, AI. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions around AI, and I can see a lot of smiles happening. So in no particular order, can I ask Mr. Balamurali, for your business, what's your take on embedding AI and automation into operations to create efficiencies across shipping and logistics? Where is it proving most transformative today? Because when we see media, there's so many use cases coming beyond just creating some beautiful ads. And there are a lot of cases which are not even published, and AI is having really big impact in particularly your industry, even in healthcare and many other sectors. So it'll be great to learn from that.
So AI is a great development. It's a big enabler for the business. So to draw a parallels with our industry, we are not just into shipping and logistics, but we have also recently ventured into the food ecosystem. So what we are trying to create is something called a farm-to-fork approach, where we ethically procure the food produce from the farmers, logistically bring it to our food processing unit. Right now it's in India. We are also planning other locations, and then export it all over the world. That is a mid-mile. Then we also do the last mile in different countries and different locations. So across this chain from farm to fork, from B2B and B2C, technology is an integral part, because physically it's impossible otherwise, because you have got different players. You have got the procurement agents, the farmers, the customers, the distributors. So in terms of starting from the predictive analysis for the crop and the soil health, to the route optimization for logistics, and on the food processing plant that we have got the best of the technology, and then again logistically bringing it to the end customer. Amongst all this, there is also a strong AI platform that is being built on the internal processes. So what happens is internally optimizing on the efficiencies, and also very, very important is also giving the analytics and the dashboards to the customers, which will enable them take better decisions. So logistically speaking, for example, we have a lot of electronic brands as our customers. So in terms of giving them the analytics on which are the brands that have moved in the last 1 year, because we do the storage and distribution, what has been the demand pattern, the seasonal trends for food products. So these are the kind of things, I think, with AI coming in, we don't have to physically go sit there and do it, but the system actually throws up all these information. So this is one big USP for us, not just for our company, but for the entire industry.
Fascinating. I think that your narrative itself probably deserves a couple of hours for everyone to learn. And I know time is short, but just take one thread on supply chain, and I'm going to ask Mr. Nambisen this question. How is your company leveraging the technology and AI without losing authenticity? Because there are lots being spoken about AI's potential darker effects and many use cases around it. How is AI being used in your supply chain? And for a business which is rooted so much in trust and tradition, how do you ensure tech doesn't erode the emotional connect, particularly with the rural part of India, and legacy consumers feel that they are with your brand?
Okay, Karthik, so so we've been a 94-year-old brand, right? And generally ghee is made in 4 hours. We make it in 4 days, right? So we still continue amongst the whole rush of the whole thing. We still continue to, make the ghee in 4 days. Our tagline is slow goodness naturally. So when everything is moving fast, we still want to embrace slowness. Coming to answer your question in terms of supply chain, in our quest to grow in terms of depth regionally, right? There is more reason that our supply chain also needs to be strengthened to support that growth. Now, honestly, coming from the slow background and trying to adapt into this, we are still learning, right, in terms of how AI can be good in supply chain. I'm sure that I'm going to connect with Bala post the session. We've already met earlier to see how effectively experts can help us. But at the same time, one thing which I'm very clear is I would like to use AI in my basic processes and systems. I'd like to keep it basic at the moment to ensure that, our basic formulations doesn't change. And then take the help of experts coming in so that, and then slowly make that change one by one. I think I would prefer to test the markets that way.
Wonderful. I think test and learn, great partners here. My question now is to Mr. Srikanth. How are you using AI and tech to modernize distribution without, losing touch with small retailers in tier 2, tier 3 towns of India?
A small portion of the question got already answered by Mr. Nambison. See, actually, where we need a transformation in terms of the digital adaptability, we decided that it has to be outsourced and it has to be done with a real-time professional. And there you came professionals like Fourth Dimension, where, when you sign up with people like a professional who handle it day in, day out on a real-time learning with a team, engaging themselves in terms of taking it forward. We completely outsource the digital part of it. And the most important part over here, which I can tell to any family business owner, is to sign up with somebody who understands the value of your grassroots, who understands your market, and who understands your product. So your product, your value systems, and the consumers and the market, all these four, if they four forms the straight line, the digital part has to be interspersed. It's not alone AI, it's all kind of the digital implementation interspersed will definitely take you through to reach to the correct level. The desired level has to be earmarked, and you as an owner of the brand, you only know, what a consumer needs and what are the fundamentals. At the end of the day, we are Indians, so we are basically catering to 90% of the market where our product is in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. So obviously, you are engaging with a customer who are also getting digitally required. So that is where signing up with the right partner makes all the difference, and we did that as well.
Okay, thank you. Last question to Ganesh. I think from an AI perspective, actually from the outside world, massive impact actually happening in your sector. And for those of you, I'm sure many of you might have applied to the, again, not a plug, don't get paid for it, Geo BlackRock Flexi Cap, which is supposed to be a human plus AI based fund system. How is AI creating the most impact for you as a business, and is it helping improve reliability and, more importantly, transparency?
Yeah, see, for us, I think from a financial services or mutual fund point of view, AI, it's a kind of blessing and a curse also, right? A lot of people are trying the robotic advisory, right, where there is AI comes in picture. But all they use the data, but it's not only data which is going to help you. There is some kind of human emotion need to be there. So the robo advisory has not really gone up to the extent people have invested in or pursued for. So we still feel that human interaction and investment is always better. You have an advisor coming in and telling you what it is, more than a robotics. But like what Sarah told us, from a data point of view, giving dashboards, telling the customers where to invest. And in case if there is so imagine he has invested in, say, in one flexi cap, it's not doing well. So how to kind of switch it. So some of those data-based decisions, AI can be little faster and give that. But AI cannot, at least as of now, I think this is also evolving. A lot of people are even, my board was telling me, Ganesh, you should learn AI. So I said, so let's evolve over the period of time. We'll see how the AI is going to be. But in the financial industry, I think it will take a little more time for us because AI can also mislead a lot of things. End of the day, it's an emotion. If I want to save for my daughter's marriage, then it's a different emotion. I don't think the AI or robotics can even tell me that invest, right? So we want to wait and watch, but I think, long way to go for us.
So I think on the AI part, I think it's fascinating. We can spend days, hours, but I want the key takeout is collaboration. Don't do it yourself. Test and learn. And there is a human element going to be. I'm conscious of the time. We have maybe 5 minutes left. So I'm going to change gear very quickly and ask a more serious question, one on the exciting part AI to coming back to something fundamental to all of us, values. So let's ask a couple of questions on values. Let's start with Mr. Nambisen. How are you keeping family values alive while professionalizing the business and attracting, top talent?
Okay, so, I think the future is, so we've been at the helm of the business for the last 93 years, and we will continue to be that is what I vision. But then, professionalizing business is a natural progression, right? I think the one factor that we need to be very aware when you get into that space is to let go. You should be in a position to let go. Let go doesn't mean let go of the family values, but then keeping the family values intact, you ensure that the family values are driven right inside the organization, and the person comes with, he can make him adapt to our family values, but at the same time, you should be ready to let go of your, you've been doing this all around, your dad's been doing it, your grandfather's been doing it, your children might do it, might not do it, but then when you professionalize, you need to ensure that, we need to let go of our thoughts because we need to bring in his ability into our organization. That's the essence of professionalizing the whole thing, right? So I think that's a very tricky question, but I think the attitude of letting go might help in actually understanding the person better.
Thank you so much. My next question is to Mr. Balamurli. How are you strengthening workplace culture and resilience with diverse geographies and workforce mindsets?
So, see, basically, organization is not a legal entity. It's a sum of collective consciousness of people. So, though, we have been speaking about different generations, from the people who were into the workforce from the 80s to 90s to the generations of today, there is a lot of talk about technology and AI, but the human element is more important. So, we still believe in Transworld that your workplace is a temple. When your workplace is a temple, your work becomes worship. So there is a common DNA that we try to imbibe. So we have something called a higher purpose for the organization. And this is not something which is just put up in the notice boards, but we encourage every person to live, which is delivering prosperity for humanity. So while we work for profits, the higher purpose is these profits, apart from our own benefit, also becomes a medium to bring about a positive change in the society. And not just the employees, but we also encourage the families of the employees, the spouses, the children, to come forth and do that. So when there is a higher purpose, there is a sublimity which comes in the work that is performed, and it gets reflected in your deliverables to the customers, to the internal stakeholders. So we still believe we are still rooted in ethics, values, and a strong culture farming.
Thank you so much. My question is to now Mr. Srikanth. In a family-owned food business, how do you retain talent and create a strong culture that blends heritage with modernity?
Somehow for us, it's becoming very easy because our company has a very low attrition. So, 3 things according to me. Number 1, make the whole stuff really interesting without being monotonous. Launch more products, launch more geography, give them always some things to do so that it makes them engaged with your brand, with your company, with your product. And the second thing, what I focus is make sure I give them a lot of money. Make them, they are sufficiently paid and taken care of in line with the industrial standards and taking up.
You should come and talk to my boss soon.
And the third thing is give them empowerment, which normally everybody says, which normally in our company we do. And that's why it makes life easy for us. We have a very thin tire management. There's no too many tires and tires in our company, and we have a thin management system. And this lean management system helps the empowerment to each and every individual, which gets that retained. We have people who are there for years together. But now the real challenge comes with the next generation which is coming in. We get ourselves aligned. We learn from the Gen Zs, and the working styles are absolutely different, and it's very interesting for us. And it makes us really young and keeping it active. So these are the 3 points which makes it.
Thank you so much. Mr. Ganesh, with a compliance heavy business as yours, which is often seen as very transactional, how do you build culture, purpose, and how do you really motivate your team?
No, I think in financial services, there's a lot of these apps and platforms and all who are not in compliance. Basically, if you put your PAN number, then every detail, including a bank account number, comes in. But nobody asks the question where it comes from, whether I have given authorization to fetch everything. But today's generation, as Sarah told, it's quite very, my son says, Pa, I just want to put my thumbprint, everything should happen. I said, it doesn't work that way in mutual fund. Okay, so there is some compliance we need to follow. For us, I think, as we are part of the mutual fund industry platform, the culture itself is compliance. So, for example, our app doesn't ask any permission to read the OTP or contacts. We don't take any data. I think data plays a huge role. Once the DPDP Act, I think Mr. Minister has told it's going to come from 1st October. I think that's going to be a huge wave in India. Once we need to start looking at how we are using the data. But the new generation, I think they should be very, very wary of this. They are very happy with the things that data is there in every place. So compliance plays a huge part, particularly in our space, where money, we handle not only the emotion of people, but also their money. So compliance become a core product. So that's a culture.
So thank you. I think a leadership session need not be very serious. I think we have touched upon multiple topics of, from volatility, how you run your business, to values, to AI, quite a lot in a short period of time. But I just want to kind of end the session on a little lighter note so that everyone is energized. Imagine if, and just one word answer please, so that we can finish on time. Imagine if you are owner of a cricket team. What role do you own that and you have a role to play. Just one word, each one of you, what role would that be? Just as an example, is it all-rounder or any other thing that you think of? In any order you can start.
So obviously, from my end, obviously a wicketkeeper captain. A wicketkeeper captain. Wonderful. You know whom I'm talking about. Okay. A guy who made the Indian cricket a real respect. Okay. Where I have seen where we look upon our Indian cricket team as how we look upon. And now after the transformation happened from the leadership point, you play good, you play normal, but that you lead it. So end of the day, it's leadership session again, even with cricket. So it's a captain with a cool
BCCI, please note, there's a wicketkeeper captain in waiting. Sir, up to you.
I would be a captain where every team member is a captain.
Okay, wonderful.
It's a captain because if you look at the transformation, and it's very apt because yesterday India has won the Asia Cup. I think every leader after Ganguly and all, I think, they give importance to the team and they choose the team according to their strengths. I think that's a more important part about leadership. So it become a captain cool is always better.
Okay, sir, go ahead.
Karthik, I just wanted to answer that differently, if you may allow me to do so. I would prefer to be the all-rounder, the question that you would ask, but more often it just doesn't happen that way because at some, when you're embracing leadership, right, the team might make mistakes. At that point, you need to embrace that you need to be a captain cool at that point of time to handle it. And there are some areas where, when that's happening, things might not work the way you want to, and you might need to get involved. So you might need to step in. When you step in, you must show your aggressive foot at that point of time. You have to be aggressive at that point of time. And then once you start being aggressive, and then the whole plate suddenly just turns to your table, and then you are left to finish it. And then you must be a great finisher to do that. I think as an entrepreneur, we have to juggle between all these roles. That's what I think that we need to be doing. Thank you.
Fabulous answer from all of you. I think very inspiring. So on that note, thank you very much. I'm conscious of time. I don't want to just keep it to the point. And a big thank you to all the panelists for sharing their
very much.
wonderful lessons and insights. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you. They deserve a bigger round of applause because how beautifully did you cover AI to higher purpose. I don't know how you did it, but you covered it. Now, here's what we are going to do. So, how to live a wholesome life. We have a book that is going to tell you all about that, and invite Geeta ma'am onto the stage to distribute this wonderful book of wealth to all of them, to our wonderful speakers and moderators. I also request Mr. John Nair, Chief Operating Officer Trinity, and Princey Roy from Huela Services to please join us here near the stage. Can you pose with the book? We can take a quick photo. Step forward. We have Mr. John and Princey joining us onto the stage to honor our fabulous moderator and fabulous panelists. Mr. Ganesh, I must say, this is the first time someone has said Gen Z style of work is interesting. It's usually never that way. Moving on to our next session. South India has long been a powerhouse of leadership and innovation in the media and entertainment sector. It's unmatched in terms of creativity and commercial influence. Next up, our illustrious panelists will cover a broad spectrum of ideas. So let me go ahead and invite them on to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Venkatesh Vijay Raghavan, MD and CEO, TTK Prestige Limited. Mr. VKC Razak, MD, India's VKC. Preeti Murthy, President, WPP Media. Uday Jadhav, Chief Executive Officer, Sakal Media Group, and this session will be moderated by Shibu Shivanandan, Founder and Managing Director, Pivot Rules. I invite the wonderful panel and the moderator onto the stage. And as always, this is how we'll welcome them with a big round of applause.
Thank you, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. I think this is the first time that I'm attending the South India's Media Summit, and I really love the vibe. The crowd is full. It started really on time, so I'm really happy that this is happening and I'm here, and I really look forward for doing it every year. So, leadership for different people are very, very different, right? So, for some of them, it's about resilience. For some of them, it's about vision. For some of them, it's about leading from the top. Today, we really want to go a deep dive into the personal experiences of how all of you guys have seen the leadership, come out. What are the traits? I really want some of those personal connects from each one of you guys, and hopefully we'll have a wonderful session today. Just to start the session, right? What, according to you, is leadership? If you have to pick up one person that you have worked with or worked for, and what would be that one trait that really stood out, and you felt that, hey, this is something that really is up to the mark?
I think let me first of all thank you, Shankar and Bharat and their team for putting up. Actually, as mentioned by some of our participants, it is becoming like an annual event for us to meet at least once in a year and getting to know, what is new happening, and just to update ourselves on the various fronts. So with that opening remark, I would say that one of the important prominent word, this thing what we hear about leadership is leader is the dealer in hope. Famous quote from Napoleon. So see here, any leader, to me, the person whom I look for or I see a leader is my chairman, my father, who started working from the age of 11 and just immediately after completing his primary education, because he was not having a what you call the capacity or the this thing to go for a further studies and because of the family conditions. So from there, he had a vision because he got into various jobs, including some government job, but he resigned everything, or he did not got satisfied with that because he had a much bigger thing in his this thing. So he started his kind of business from Tamil Nadu, we can say, in a village called Kodayar near Pollachi. And he started with a small hotel while he was working in Tamil Nadu State Electricity Board as a permanent employee. So when the business was going from one side, he resigned his job and he focused on the business. Not just for that reason alone, but he wanted one of his friend to get a promotion to his post. If he stay there, he will not get the promotion. So there is something which is unique about him, and we are seeing him right from the beginning. So we started plywood matchbox, the component manufacturing unit. Then later, finally came to footwear in 1984, and started with 600 pairs a day. We reached a capacity of 5 lakh pairs a day. So this is the current business. And as any leader, I think he should have a vision and he should have a strategy. And vision without strategy or strategy without vision doesn't work. So these two things actually, what I would say that he was very good in aligning all these things, and very, very well. And all those big ideas he had, that any leader should have a big idea, and he should have a way to execute that. And he did it very well, and he could communicate that what he's doing, and he could develop the most important one, he could develop the next generation leaders also. I think to me, so this should be leadership, and I look at him and we follow the same path where we started. So that's from my side.
Fantastic. Your business is as old as me.
Yeah.
And I think you almost summarized every point that I had today to discuss, but yeah, great to hear from you. Sir, from you.
No, I've had the opportunity to work with many leaders, many entrepreneurial leaders who've shaped this country as well. See, I think there are two things. A leader, of course, needs to have a vision, but I think the vision needs to be a shared vision that energizes the team, energizes the people, right? And I think most leaders that I've seen succeed is when they're able to actually touch emotionally. You may have your own preferences, you may have your own ideas, but if you're not able to get the emotional connect with the team, energize them, right? And that, I think, is what I see has been the success hallmark of many of the leaders that I've seen. And that's something that I try to personally emulate as well. I think it's very important that you have a vision, the vision gets shared, and you make the people around you believe in that vision, because at the end of the day, it's not your success, it's their success. I think, to me, and somebody was talking about Captain Cool. I mean, he's a live example, I would say. I mean, the guy just steps back in the moment of celebrations and takes the brat when you need it. I think there are people like that, leaders are like that. I think that, I would say, is some of the hallmarks that I've seen in leadership.
I agree. Empathy and probably, having that emotional connect really helps.
Yeah.
You're able to cut through people and probably, sit with them, have a chat and understand how are the challenges, and you're able to solve them. Yeah. Priti, something from you.
I think they've covered it so beautifully. I mean, I was actually thinking, what should I add? But I think what I've experienced is what I can share.
Yeah.
And something that I am now trying to give back, right, is about the authenticity in how you deal with it, right? So one is the vision, the second is the empathy, the ability to connect and translate it on ground. And how authentic are you to do it, right? Yeah. Most of the journeys you will find here in entrepreneurs and some large companies that we have seen is about that authenticity. You will find all the founders here, all the owners here with that authenticity. Yeah. I think that's where I've learned a lot. and how leaders should behave.
Yes.
Because even in moment, see, when do leaders shine the most? Success is very easily reflective, right? The toughest part is your crisis. And how authentically you are able to deal with it with your teams, with your people, and take along the journey. I think that is where the shift happens, and that's how I've experienced it well.
And I agree. I think being in a tough situation really brings out a true leader, right? And their capability to also lead is what I feel. So, a great example there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I think all the panelists has described leadership very well. From me, when I see the leaders, I work with many good leaders and I learn so many things from them. When I try to shorten or maybe summarize a couple of qualities of the good leader, I normally find 5 qualities of the good leader. First is every leader is having a purpose of the business or purpose of the life. People, those who are having good passion about that purpose, they normally join him and they will take the path ahead. But purpose is the most important thing for the leadership. In offices or in industry, we use 3 words, one expert, bosses and leaders. But when we look at the leader, I can distinctly, you can say, separate bosses and expert versus leader, because leaders carries so many soft qualities, like they are always driven by the purpose, one. Second, they are always humble. They are always available to people, they are always ready to listen, they show the great kindness to the supporting team or people working with them. Third quality is they show empathy. I will give you a small example. Normally we get messages early morning about the leave. People like, sir, today I'm not feeling well, I want to leave. How people respond? Some people respond with K. I don't know what is the meaning of the K. Some people respond with the okay. Some people respond with okay, take care. But leader respond with okay, take care. If you require any help, I'm a call away. I think that is the quality of the leader. I think, as you rightly mentioned, leadership is all about the emotional connect with your team. And if somebody is showing the emotional connect, people will go out of the way to achieve the purpose that has been laid in the organization.
Absolutely. You look at the 4 panelists having different view on what leadership is, right? There is authenticity, then there is emotion, then there is purpose, then there is vision. And I think that's holistically what leadership is. Leadership is probably not only one, but multiple strengths coming together and showcasing in the best and the worst of the time. Moving to the next point, right? One of the key things in leadership is also growth. And growth also comes from getting and giving feedback. So just wanted to touch upon that as well in terms of, if I have to probably start with you there, right? Being a CEO and taking the feedback from the teams and the peer are also equally important. How do you manage it, and what is your way of working around taking feedback from the team to go back and understand and dwell upon it?
I think as a leader, I think we must be a good listener. To a good listener, we need to manage time. If you want to be available for the team members, you should have a time to deal with them, to listen them. People will, or team will come to you with lot of information, lot of stat, lot of MIS or complaints. If we listen them completely or carefully, I think after listening, most of the issues normally sort it out. And if we listen them carefully, people also think that he is the listener, we should go him, share information, that the emotion bonding start increasing. While listening, the people normally do a couple of mistakes. The normal mistake is people use multitasking activities while listening somebody. My suggestion is, when you are listening to anyone, avoid multitasking, focus only on the content. Second mistake, we start judging people by inputs. I think we should be neutral, we should be sometimes vocal. I think we should ask right questions while you are listening to the peers. Because with right questions, you will get additional information. And once you get the information, we should be collaborative. We should pass on that information to right people, right functions. I think that is the aim of the good listening. If my suggestion or my request, all of you, if who are not good listeners, start listening your team members carefully. I think it will be a great valuation to your organization.
That's some fantastic thoughts. Sir, you have been running a 40-year-old organization, right? And 41-year-old, sorry. How do you create an environment, having such a strong roots, how do you create an environment where different layers of teams that are working are giving feedback and they're open to giving that feedback as well? How are you able to build that organization culture shift itself?
So, as already mentioned, that's one of the most important thing that is definitely feedback if you want to move ahead. So, one thing is that, we have to understand whom you are going to take the feedback and what is the, the ecosystem and basically on what topic. So, here you have to be, it has to be an, a two-way kind of a thing. It's not, most of the time it comes with a questionnaire or it comes with some kind of a feedback, which is ready-made things. But that will take you to only a limited extent or to limited exposure to the real situation. So we need to start talking with them maybe something positive the person has done recently or recent past. By just making him to speak which is if you talk about him something which is positive, definitely is likely to open out on other matters which he feels that I should be knowing. So, and we should get all the feedbacks, and we should also give the feedback to him on the feedback, like what action you have taken on the feedback. So once you complete the loop, then it becomes a system for a regular and routine feedback wherein you can take decisions fast and you get the actual reality on the ground to make you a better decision.
I agree that feedback loop has to be continuous and complete as well, right? At Havas, we have an annual survey where we take feedback from all the teams and we do it twice a year so that we have, at least we go back to the teams addressing some of those issues and also see how do we do in the next half of the year as well. So again, you touched upon a point about feedback to start being positive. I just want to open it up to everyone saying that, do you feel that feedback always should start from a positive note or is there any other way to also look at it?
See, I think I'll just add on to a couple of points here. See, I think in the be it small organization, big organization, you would have different types of people, right?
Yes.
There are some people whom want to come talk to you.
Yes.
Right? We would have done that. We as juniors would have also done that in the past. I think there are a few personalities where they put the organization ahead of them and they're not comfortable when things go wrong with the organization. They want to come talk, right? Now, those are the ambassadors whom I think we should pick up first, because the moment you're engaging them, there's a viral impact of that goes across the organization to say, yeah, these guys are open. And like he said, if that conversation is authentic and genuine, the virality of that will actually make other people then walk up and do. I think to that extent, I think spotting that and being able to genuinely have that conversation, I think it works. And that openness is what I would suggest we should focus on. Because once you do that, then automatically things will start falling in place and you can start talking to different sets of people.
I think not looking at from an influencer standpoint, but practically they're the ones who are also will take that positive message forward and seeding the positivity within the team and then probably great. I think that's a great way to also look at. Moving to the next question, right, which is related to uncertainty and leadership. I think the last about few years has been nothing but uncertain, and I think that's the only certain that we have. In points like this, sir, Venkatesh sir, I would like to start with you saying that how do you shift mindsets within yourself and within the team to manage this uncertainty and probably to build a belief and a hope with people?
No, I think we've got live examples. I've been part of an industry which had 2 players to start with, then it became 20 players, then it became 10 players. Fortunately, today it is 2 players, right? I think the one thing that we've learned there is you just stick to what you think is right and the clarity of what we need to do. Because if that clarity is very clear, I think it helps us sort of step back and say, okay, how do we navigate this whole? So I would say the first thing that I've learned throughout my life is be clear about what are we wanting, irrespective of what the external environment is. And as long as we stick to that and we navigate around it, I think we in most cases will sail through. And when you're able to communicate that and stand by that with the teams as well, I think it works. And I think live examples you've seen, whether it's in my current organization or TTK Prestige or in Airtel as well. I think I've seen this whole roughing it out by just being stay put, being clear. If you can do that, I think it works.
So staying put and be very clear, being very clear about the output. Priti, I would like to hear from you as well. In terms of uncertainty, how important is communications and being transparent within the teams are?
So it's a mixed bag, right? When you're running, say, 20 people or a 40 people company, you can be very, very transparent. My nature is such that I like to receive all the communication very clearly, right? But when now I'm in a leadership role, I know I cannot do it all the time. So what do? You hinge the pillars that will inspire, motivate, and being fair to people's role in that organization. Because when you have 3,000 people, 2,000 people, you cannot share everything and anything, right? So it's a very tricky balance. Communication is important. How you communicate, what is the elements of those communication, how is it going to land and impact their current work? That part is where they look at you, saying that, okay, there is this crisis, business up, business is down. When there's more work, there's a problem. When there's less work, there's a problem. Both are issues, right? Because more work means they're expecting us to set up more team members or processes. But many times you just have to go and figure out at a later stage because you're really not sure whether it's going to be that high all the time. So where is that right balance for them? And giving that empowerment to them is the key. Transparency is subject to conditions. This has at least been my learning because sometimes we're too transparent, then there's a problem. We're not transparent enough, then there's a problem. So last 5 years has taught us that. Post-pandemic, we have realized that everything and anything can't be put out in the platter.
And I agree with you. When it's a smaller set of people, I think the way that transparency and communication works is very different than probably a 5,000 member organization where they'll have to pick and choose the battles, how transparent at what level. I think that makes a difference. Mr. Razak, again, coming back to you. In uncertain times, right, what is your mantra to stay grounded? How do you balance it out? How do you, as a leader, how do you stay grounded to the reality?
So actually, see, if you take, as somebody was mentioning, I mean, we have been sailing through a lot of uncertainties in the past few years. Starting from that is 2019, I mean, with the GST, demonetization, GST. And in Kerala, I think you never experienced, we had 2 continuous floods. That is 18 and 19. Then next 2 years, COVID. So it's a 6-year series of uncertainties, especially most of the Kerala-based manufacturing. So the only thing is that keep cool, keep calm, and be more active. There's nothing that take you out of this kind of a situation. I mean, you have to be very active. Once you take it inside without being cool or calm, then maybe that will be the end of everything. Because you'll be going to take hefty decisions or which you never may have done. So it's something like, as already mentioned, Captain Cool. Just, be cool and calm, then be active. So I think this is what we have practiced in the last, from the experience basically.
And just to move to the next segment, I believe that storytelling is also a very, very strong, important component when it comes to specifically leadership, right? So we'll probably start with you, Mr. Venkatesh. What is that one story that you tell the team, which gets them all together, gets them pumped up? Is there a story that you like to share with us as well? Or is there what is that instance about leadership, storytelling that you bring out?
No, I think I keep often repeating the same thing. I think if I go back to the telecom story again, if there is one company that could rough it off for 15 years, still stay back, right? I think that is an epitomization of how you can go through the trenches and come back again. So my favorite story has always been, life will always be tough. It's about how you ride it through. And there are live examples, his growth story, TTK Prestige growth story, Airtel, there are a lot of companies, a lot of entrepreneurs here would have gone through that, right? I think these stories are all about picking up, and if you won't feel excited if you don't have something like this. 50 years, when you turn back and see, if you've gone through all these struggles, I think those are, so that's something that I keep telling people, that if 20 years down the line, you have to stand back and reflect back, if there's something has to be interesting, that interesting has to be episodes like this, and the way we bounce back. I think, I would say these are stories that I would keep telling people. It's important to fail, it's important to go through struggle, equally important to get out of that struggle and reflect it back probably a couple of years later.
Absolutely. I think post the COVID era, I think everybody who has survived, right, will have a story to say. And I was telling this to my parents as well, right, that probably 10 years, 15 years down the line, people will not know that, we survived something like COVID. And for them, it will be strange to actually hear about, what we went through, how we were all locked up in home. I think that's a great story. Uday, anything that you would like to add? What is the one story that you keep telling your team that re-energizes them?
I like one story. Whenever we discuss with the team, we need to create faith into the cause or what we like to do in the future. A story is a fiction. The story is like that there was a boy living in a small village. The village was facing drought from so many years. One day, all villagers come together and they decided go to a temple or mandir and they will pray to the god for the rains. That morning, the boy goes to the mandir or temple with the umbrella. I think the story is very small, but the meaning of the story is, if you are going to pray to the God, you should believe that if I'm praying to the God with my heart, the rain will fall. And that's like everyone should have a faith in our own activities, then only the great things will happen.
Is there anything that you would like to add? Any story that you would have heard which energized you, inspired you?
Oh, I think most of the stories that we play within ourselves is actually where we had a lot of fun, where we have laughed, where we have enjoyed the moment of whatever it was at work, whether it's crisis or whatever. The stories that get passed on from generations is those days of fun. Like, we worked the crazy hours and we did an overnighter and then we had this ball and then we ordered this and nothing happened and we had fun and, it is those narratives which in context, if I see when I talk to the next generation, they're not interested so much in my story as much as that feeling that I derived out of it that I'm passing on. And they are looking at their current work environment and saying, am I getting that feeling back? Is it infectious enough? The story has to be infectious enough. And I think that's where I have put my, bet on.
I agree. We have a similar challenge as well. When we were like about 50, 80 people, we used to party a lot. We used to work like till late night and everybody used to be part of that. And now teams are also asking, why do we don't do it anymore? We are more than 400 people now. It's very difficult. Like it's a huge office. You can't do that. But yeah, I totally relate to what you're saying. And I think that's also a way forward. Moving to the last segment, which will be about culture and diversity. Leadership also means being inclusive, bringing out a great culture together. So Priti, we'll start with you. From an agency standpoint, right? And then I think in the first panel led by Mohit, he was talking about Gen Zs. How do you think that, what would you feel are the most important cultural nuances in an organization which will attract Gen Zs and get them to stay and work for a longer time?
And I think this is a little controversial. I'm going to say it a very different thing other than what people think, that Gen Zs are not working or whatever. I actually admire them because they're very clear what they want and they don't want. I'm very inspired that they bring in a different ecosystem that we can learn from and change our habits. In the earlier generation, who were my bosses, say 20 years my senior, 10 years my senior, they had a different outlook on how to engage with juniors, right? It was a very hierarchical driven approach. Hierarchies are important, but the balance of hierarchies to the acceptance and inclusivity is a different generation. Sometimes one overindulges, sometimes one doesn't indulge at all. So it has become that extreme today. I think what Gen Zs bring in is a refresh to how to balance it. They also question how we function. And I really believe that that's where we are going to bring in the shift in many organizations, because these Gen Zs are going to be the next leaders, right? So if you're not going to listen to them, then you are not setting up yourself for success. And hence you're not a leader. Then you become a manager. So that's the subtle nuance that we need to place into the mix today.
Perfect. I think I also agree with you. I think there is a lot that we as leaders also need to learn from them, their mindset. The future is Gen Zs, right? I mean, somewhere we'll have to also come in the middle and they have to come in the middle. It's just a way of probably giving the right feedback, getting them, teaching them all the qualities that we actually spoke about. Uday, from your perspective, how important is diversity for a real growth and innovation?
I think diversity is the key for the success, because many industries are now dependent on the one income source. The other industry, you are working in the other industries, we are in the media industry. Our main revenue comes from the advertisement. And when we think about the media, the only challenge we are having that if we lose the market share or we lose the advertisements, what will happen with the media? So as a Sakar, we are keep diversifying in the other sectors, in like education, in those sector publication, those who are related to media. And I think if we able to establish a diversified portfolio, there is no fear factor. There will be no uncertainty. And uncertainty kills you. If you are stable, you are certain, I think future will be bright.
And then just to blend both the questions together, and I'll ask any one of you to answer that. Have you experienced a challenge between older generation and a younger generation? And how do you recommend us to deal with it? Just a point of view.
See, I think when in doubt, go with the younger generation, because they are the way forward, right? Yeah. Now, you have no choice. I'm saying as the profile is going to change, and you have, when organizations 75 years old, 80 years old people are there, new people are there. I think what's more important is there is a change in the way the market is behaving today, the way the consumers are changing. Some part of this Gen Z is also reflecting the consumer attitude as well, and therefore completely shutting off, saying that no, we won't look at it, means we're actually going to lose out from that perspective, right? The second thing we need to understand is their environment is very different. Like she mentioned, some of us or our generations or our earlier generations, the risk-reward ratio was defined very clearly. You work, you get the reward, and therefore you keep working, you get rewarded. I think the equation was quite clear. Today it's not like that, given that a lot of these Gen Zs have come from a richer India, right? And the ecosystem there is slightly different for them, and therefore their risk-reward equation is different. So we need to understand that, and if you don't understand that, you don't understand your consumers as well. So I think, I would say when in doubt, lean towards them. Of course, experience helps. So keep the experience on and blend the two is what we would try to do. It's not an easy job, but I think that's what probably is one of the biggest leadership challenges we have today.
How to look both of them in a single...
Yeah.
Anything
Actually, I will start from where he stopped. Actually, see, there is a serious conflict between old generation and new generation, but it's not as what we think. See, I'll just explain you in with one simple example. Like, see, in old generation, maybe to save money, we used to walk 10 minutes or 15 minutes to reach from one place to the other place. Yeah. But now, new generation, maybe to to save time, they spend that money. So this is the basic difference between those generation and this generation. So it's basically it's a old thinking and new thinking. See, you can't say that there is no value system in them. See, then if there is no value system, what happened in Sri Lanka or Nepal or now what is happening in Ladakh, it wouldn't have happened. So there is actually one of the previous session also, they were like students now when I like dropping one of my the candy pouch outside of my car window, my daughter doesn't permit me to do that. Or if I throw out a piece of paper or the, what you call this thing, outside the window, they don't permit. So they have clear, idea or they have value system. But only thing that, as he said, we need to blend these two and the old generation has to go to the shoes of new generation and new generation have to be aligned with the old generation. Because there is, as he said, there is a risk mitigation level is slightly different. For them, they are coming out from a different, completely different environment. As again, earlier also mentioned, because they are now growing up with the apps, not with the feeding bottle. So this is the difference. So we have to definitely align these two. Then definitely you are in the
I have an interesting
direction.
analogy to it. My cousin brother, my Masi's son, okay. So when he was in college, he wanted a two-wheeler bike for Bombay college bike. So his father gave a 3-4 hour lecture on how he grew up near Trivandrum, how he used to do 2 buses, or he used to sometimes walk one and skip a bus so that he can save money. He said, your problem, your father didn't give you money. Okay, now his son, my brother was buying a car and upgrading his car. His son gave a good lecture on what are you going to do, save. I don't want your money, I want the car now. Why don't you, instead of this A car, why don't you buy a B car? So this is how the values shift. He says, don't keep for future. You live now, YOLO, FIFO, LOFO, all those jargons come out.
See, they are earning money and they wanted to earn more, but they don't want to buy a house. They just wanted to go for a vacation in some good resort and spend the money. So this difference, if you can, or if that, mindset, if you can take in you, then it's finished. Everything is clear.
I also agree with that point, and I think there was one point that was covered in the previous panel as well. It's about how the Gen Z is also looking at sustainability as a point, right? Like, I don't think that we actually thought about, wearing sustainable clothes. Now they really think about, what am I wearing? What am I eating? What am I doing? Is it impacting climate change? I don't think probably, not that things were bad at that point in time, but I don't think that at least my generation really thought about climate change, right? And it is now when I talk to them, I hear from them, even I go back and say that, what can I do as a small change in my house, in my day-to-day thing that will make a difference to the nature, right? I think that there's some great learnings. As you rightly said, Mr. Venkatesh, right? How do you...
I just have a point there to add. I mean, I have one experience recently.
Yes, sir.
I mean, from this perspective. Like, we just launched a pilot project in one of the corporations in Kerala. So we launched a project like whenever I sell a product, we take back one old used footwear back and we dispose it responsibly. So the response from the new generation is much more very positive than the old generation.
They would want to do that.
Yes, yeah. They wanted to support this kind of a movement. So you just mentioned about the green and all the sustainability points. So so that is very clear.
Yeah, great. So I
would like to add.
Sorry? Yeah, Udaya, please.
On the lighter note, though it is true, I'd like to say, we in Maharashtra say we normally do 4 mistakes in our life, or we did 4 mistakes. One, we spend a lot of money in the marriages. Then after the marriage, we normally buy our good flat, and we took loan for paying the EMIs. Once we get good flat, we buy car, and if money left, we buy LIC policy. These are the normal mistakes we do. But when I look or interact with the new generations, they are very asset light. They want to, as you mentioned, they don't want to buy a flat. They want to be staying in the rental house. They don't want to buy a car. They would like to prefer use Uber or Ola. They don't fall into the long-term relationship. That is also scary. But they are looking for the very short-term relationship, convenient relationship. But I think it's completely changed. They also changed their terminology. When I stress, sometimes I stress in the office, the Gen Z team comes to me and they ask me, are you stressed? When I say negative, they laugh at me. But we need to use the language also, that the terminology has completely changed. I think sometimes I face problem to deal with this new generation, new Gen Zs.
The good thing is stay on Instagram. There is a handles on Instagram which tell you how to become a Gen Z. Great. Sorry?
But it is dead now.
Great. I would like to wrap this up by asking quick, doing a rapid fire round. Just 3 questions, very, very quick answers to everyone. Sir, what is the one leadership trait that you admire the most?
Hard work.
Hard work. Fantastic. Sir?
To me, it's humility.
Wow.
Authenticity.
Show empathy.
Empathy. Great. Superb, superb. I think summarizing a great leader, right? What is that one mistake that you feel that as a leader you will not do or you will never repeat?
I think I would not put all the eggs in one basket. Because I mean, it's from my experience, because we are predominantly a distribution network.
Got it.
So there are challenges, and especially at the time of COVID again. So you should have an alternate. Option.
We come from an agency background where we say put all the eggs in our basket. Great, sir.
I would say I would never pass on the pressure. I think to me, pressure is something the leader should handle.
Okay.
Smile is something that you spread on to people.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Fantastic outlook in that.
I think for me, I will not close my ears, which means also listening.
Yeah. Beautiful one. What is it?
I would like to avoid mistake of micromanaging. We normally spend too many things, manage small things. Those don't show any importance in the future. If you look back 10 years back, we always think that we spend a lot of time in the micromanaging.
I agree. And I think Gen Z is not even probably would want to get micromanaged. They realize it very fast and then they tell you to back off. What is it one piece of advice that you would like to give to the next generation?
I always think it's very clear, like be ethical, be transparent, be hardworking. Like whatever product you do, whatever process or whatever practice, and whatever business you do, very transparent. I mean, to your stakeholders, to your investors, whoever it be.
Yeah.
And hardworking, that as I already told you.
Superb. Yes.
I would say stay true to yourself, stay true to the other people.
Good advice.
Whatever you do, take it seriously. Don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah.
I will advise, work for the purpose, work for the passion, be a good listener, and be an ethical person in the life.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was fantastic listening from you guys. And I think I have also learned a lot from all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the wonderful questions.
Thank you.
I just want to thank the audience because we all attend a lot of events. And I would just want to say how encouraging it is to see you all seated. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and take a moment here to appreciate how amazing you are. One Gen Z's email response for taking a holiday was, "I'm on leave, bye." That was the email. And of course, on social media, we had this entire discussion about a 70-hour work week. And look at the amazing leaders on stage who are so empathetic, so kind. The Gen Z in the audience, you should give them a nice big round of applause if you're there. And everybody else as well. These are the leaders we need who are shaping the next generation. Thank you for being amazing. That was lovely. On that note, may I please invite Shalmali, Senior Vice President from Tata Play, to join us on stage. We have a little gift for you. And may I also invite Mr. Krishnan Subramanian, Chief Learning Officer, Trans World Academy, to join us to deliver the mementos. But Meanwhile, step forward. We'd like a pose with the wonderful book that you are receiving. One quick group picture would be lovely. A nice big round of applause one last time. And Gen Z in the audience who joined us.
दिशन्तु मे देव सदा त्वदीयाः दयातरङ्गानुचरा कटाक्षाः श्रोत्रेषु पुंसाम् अमृतं क्षरन्तीं सरस्वतीं संश्रितः कामधेनुं. Hoi polloi, a very good afternoon to the audience that is gathered for the 6th season of this beautiful South India Media Summit, and kudos to Shankar and the entire team whom I have had the pleasure of knowing for over half a decade. And I've been the squirrel that's traveled with them through different cities and seasons, from Hyderabad to Kovai in the past, to Madurai, to Cochin, to Bangalore, and very many dignitaries who have adorned this summit have been a part of my pensieve since she referred to Harry Potter at the commencement. I should bring in pensieve from the Goblet of Fire. Every session that I have been a part of, there will be a topic that Shankar, with such fervor, would give it to me. And that would largely be something related to the Indic scriptures and management principles. This time he said, why don't you do a number game? So I'm sure some of the sessions in the school days would be of mathematics post-lunch. So he has been extremely diligent enough to make this session of mine pre-lunch, taking absolute courtesy and magnanimity from the bottomest of his heart, knowing what full stomachs can do to number game. So that said, I'm in this beautiful city of Kovai, where I have delivered over like 200 lectures in the last 15 years in over 35 venues, starting from schools and colleges. So this city has been extremely welcoming, extremely good and loving. Tamizhil pesa vendum என்பதுதான் என்னுடைய ஆவா. ஆயினும் கன்னட மொழியை பேசக்கூடியவர்கள், தெலுங்கு மொழியில் உரையாடக்கூடியவர்கள், ஹிந்தி, மராட்டியில் இருக்கக்கூடிய ஆத்திகர்கள் இருப்பதால் எங்கிருந்தோ வந்தாலும் ஆங்கில பாஷையை தேர்ந்தெடுத்து நான் உரையாட வேண்டும் என்று இச்சைக்கிறேன். Since I've mentioned Kannada after Tamil, I wouldn't make the grave mistake of telling which language came from what. That said, every day, like any other day, today would have begun with a certain number. Wake up at 5 a.m., so the number 5 comes. Have breakfast at 6:30, 6:30 comes. What time did the session begin? 9:52. How many people were there? There were 3 panels, 5 members each, 4 plus 1. So everything is about number. How much ever we have liked, disliked, the prejudice that we have had for mathematics during school days or college days wouldn't stop us from appreciating the number that is credited as salary every month we see. So numbers is all that we have. So there's a very primary level, the way I take it. Every religion, every community has its own set of nice things to say. So from what I have bequeathed, from what I have learned, from what I have internalized are these teachings. So when we deal with Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma or the Vedic civilization, the way we call it, the way we perceive it. Often the Western universities often call this religion polytheistic. We aren't polytheistic, we are polymorphic. We believe there is one truth that we see in various forms. So, I'm just taking you through some simple numbers, then let's see what numbers can do to us. So, how do we understand that one truth? So, there are two paintings, one depictive of the beautiful sojourn of Rama, who happened to travel through the states of Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, some parts of Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, finally with some very diligent Vanaras who knew what deadlines were, was able to construct a bridge to retrieve his wife from the clutches of a tyrant demon who was housed near Sita Kutuba and Nuvara Iliya of Sri Lanka. So that's Ramayana, that's one scripture to us. There's another scripture that deals with a beautiful dark-skinned woman who was the prettiest woman of her times, called Draupadi, who had the best friend in Krishna. And their journey, which becomes a compendium of 1,25,000 verses, called Mahabharatam. So from one truth, we go to two books that teach us the truth. And then we have Tripathaga Ganga, when this little boy who came as a dwarf, whose pituitary gland at that point in time malfunctioned and he came as a dwarf called Vamana, he measured the worlds with the waters of Ganga that were poured from the pot of Brahma, from his abode to the beautiful lotus-like feet of Vamana, touching the matted locks of Shiva. Shivanudaya Shirassil Vilunda Gangayanadu, Tirumalin Kalil Pattadam, Ade Gangayanaval, Brahmavin Kamandalathil irundalam. Since she has the association of three deities, she is called Tripathaga. So the number 3 is seen there. Then we have 4. So we have Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. We earn and live a lifestyle, at least yearn to live a lifestyle that sticks to certain values. So that's Dharma. But to live a life of certain values, then I need to start working. So I start earning. So I make money. So that is artha. Then I enjoy a life of passion. I go to a theme park, whichever way you see it, that becomes kama. And then I finally trek the Himalayas. So I seek moksha. People often ask, how would you relate this to vehicles in India? I say somebody whom we hold very close to our hearts is Hanuman, and one of his very many names is Maruti. So you travel by the car, you go help the society, that's dharma. You travel for work to earn, that becomes artha. You go to a same theme park with the same car, it's kama. And you pray that the opposite person doesn't take you to moksha while you're driving. So there is one vehicle with 4 wheels that teaches the purusharthas. So we have the Pancha Linga Sthalas, all 5 of them in the earlier Madras presidency, now of course in 2 states. We have Akashad Vayuhu Vayoragnihi Agneraapaha Adbhyav Prithvi. We've got the 5 elements. Akashasthalam is Chidambaram. We have Vayusthalam, which is Srikalahasti in Andhra Pradesh. We have Agnisthalam, which is called Arunachaleshwaram or Tiruvannamalai. We have Appusthalam, which is the sthala of water, which is Tiruvanekka or Tiruvanekkaval in the beautiful hamlet or islet formed in the fresh waters of Kaveri in Srirangam. And finally is the Prithvi Sthalam of Kanchipuram. 6, now this is season 6 for the summit. Shan Mukha, Shat is 6. Shan Mukha is Kartikeya Muruga, who is extremely loved amongst various states, of course in the state of Tamil Nadu. Shanmukha. 7, the beautiful esoteric 7 steps that the couple take in their lifetime. Now, like this I can keep going on. And it all depends on the person who makes and articulates such slides that you can come up with numbers. Suppose I say the number 5050. What comes to our mind? Trump and his gift for India. That was 50, right? So every number has its own significance, but that's not where I'm going to take you. We have a letter, the letters of the Sanskrit alphabet, which most languages, Indian languages, follow. There is an A, I, E. And then we have these letters, ka, ka. For those of you who can't read Devanagari script, trust me, I'm showing you Devanagari script. That will help you to sit through the production. So you have ka, ka, ga, ga, nga. So if you look at this, so what I'm going to do is, do you see the letter ka there? Those of you who can read. So you go downwards, ka, ka, ga, ga, nga. Next line, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya. Similarly, the letters go in Devanagari. The beauty is, languages have no politics. We make politics out of it. Languages talk to each other with absolutely no prejudice or hatred. Tamil, which is one of the oldest classical languages, just not of Bharatam but of the world, has a similar style. Now you see on the left in Devanagari, ka, ka, ga, ga, nga. In Tamil, you have the first and the last letter, ka, ga. Similarly, cha, cha, ja, ja, nya. The next set of letters will be cha, nya. Ka, nga, cha, nya, ta, na, ta, na. So this is how the Tamil letters go. Now, so I've pointed those letters for you. What is special now in this number system? Bar my singing, because I have to kind of tell you what this demonstrates. There's a very famous Telugu movie which received a plethora of national awards. It was called Shankarabharanam. And the very veteran singer SPB sang such immortal songs for the movie. There came this song. Omkaranadanu santana mauganame idi Shankarabharanamu. A very famous line. This song is in the ragam Shankarabharanam. The name of the tune is Shankarabharanam. How do I understand Shankarabharanam? I'm sure some of you will be music experts, some of you will be new to music. Trust me, what I'm speaking is the truth. Though I don't have a Gita book to swear on, trust me. So this is the Shankarabharanam Arohanam. So it is Sarigama Padhani sa ni dha pa ma. This is Shankarabharanam. Now, there is another ragam called Kalyani. For example, Mannavan vandanadi tori varaha nadi karavoram. This is in the ragam Kalyani. What is the tune for that? Sarigama. The beauty is Shankarabharanam and Kalyani are two strong ragas which I'm sure the great maestro Ilayaraja would have used in at least 2000 songs. But you know what differentiates the two? It is Ma1. If you see M1 and there in Kalyani it's M2. Just one Ma differentiates two ragas. Sarigama, Sarigama, Ma, Ma. How do we bring that into the number system in India? Now, I told you M1 and M2. This is the entire raga circle with which composers work. There if you see, I have mentioned on the left hand side, Mecha Kalyani. The name of the raga is Mecha Kalyani. On the other hand, you have Dhira at the bottom. If you can see it, it's called Dhira. And that's the name of the ragam, Dhira Shankarabharanam. How do we learn in music? Now, this Mecha corresponds to a certain digit. Do you see the ka, ka, ga, ga, nga? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cha, cha, ja, janya, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Ta, tha, da, dhana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ta, tha, da, dhana, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Pa, pa, ba, bha, ma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yara, lava, sha, sha, saha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is called Katapayadi Sankhya. It's very important to music. Now, let's take the word Kalyani. Mecha. Pa, pa, ba, bha, ma. Ma is 5. Cha, cha, ja, ja, nya. Cha is 6 because from ka it becomes 6. So, Mecha is 5, 6. In numbering system in India, you will have to reverse the number. So, 56 becomes 65. So, the number assigned to Kalyani Raga is 65. Similarly, you take Dhira Shankara Bharanam, it will be 292, reverse it 29. How does this work in our system? I'm sure you all know Bhishmacharya was one of the overlived human beings during the Mahabharata war. Arjuna pushed him to a bed of arrows, and towards the end of his lifetime, Yudhishthira had a plethora of questions to ask. So he asked Krishna, I have a set of questions to ask. Krishna said, your brother Arjuna has had his fair share of asking over 71 questions to me. So I am in no mood to answer your questions. There is one ancestor of yours who is lying on the bed of arrows. Go ask him. So Yudhishthira goes and asks 6 questions to Bhishma, who was in his bed of arrows. And Bhishmacharya answers. This set of questions and answers posed by Yudhishthira and Bhishma is called Vishnu Sahasranamam, a set of 1,000 names. Andal says, Namamayiram Yettanindra Narayana Narane Unnai Mamittan Maganaga Petral Yamakkuvadi Tavirume Kaman Podarukkalamendru Panguninal Kadai Parittom Teemai Seyyum Siridara Engal Sittril Vandu Sidayele. This is a Nachiyar Tirumozhi verse. So, 1,000, because if I say 1,000 names, there will be 1 or 2 people who will say, oh, this didn't exist in the Tamil tradition. I have to give you 4 or 5 references from the Sangam literature, how the 1,000 names was known to the Tamil people. Now, the 1,000 names were given by Bhishmacharya. This was extremely famous, very revered, very beautiful. Parvati had a very practical question. She said, people have time to do cardio. People have time to do 10,000 steps, but they wouldn't have time to recite the 1,000 names. Give me a shortcut. So she asked this in Sanskrit. Kena upayena laghuna vishnor nama sahasrakam patyater panditair nityam shrotumichhamyaham prabho. Hey Shiva, give me a shortcut. That is when he said, if a devotee is so time pressed, so that person can recite Rama Namam thrice. Shri Rama, 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 Iti Rame Rame Manorame. So 3 times you recite Rama Namam, it is equivalent to 1,000 names. How did this come? Just about 2 minutes, 25 seconds back, I showed you Ka Kha Ga Ga Nga. So Ya Ra La Va, Ra is 2. Pa Pha Ba Bha Ma, Ma is 5. So she said Rama. Ra is 2, Ma is 5. Reverse it, 5 into 2, 10. Rama, 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 10 into 10 into 10, 1,000. So this 1,000 names is equal to, this is how all our mathematical formula that was formulated by Aryabhatta follows this system. Now, if you see Mahabharata, the original name of Mahabharata is not Mahabharata. It has a different name. The work isn't called Mahabharata by Vyasa. He says, Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam. So Mahabharata is not called Mahabharata in its compendium. You know what is it called? It is called Jaya. Why? Because the entire Mahabharata has 18 chapters. One of the chapters is Bhishma Parva that talks about the war that happened for 18 days. So 18 chapters, 18 days of war, and how many chapters that Bhagavad Gita have? 18. How many battalions of people fought on both sides? 11 on Duryodhana's side, 7 on Pandava's side, 11 plus 7, 18. How many chariots fought? If you see the number, 21,870 chariots. You add 2 plus 1 plus 8 plus 7 plus 0, you will get 18. So anything in Mahabharata is 18. So how is this related to Jaya? Because Ja corresponds to the number 8. Ya corresponds to the number 1. Any number you will have to reverse. 8, 1 becomes 18. So Mahabharata was called Jaya because every number of Mahabharata has 18 in it. Now, this is a very intriguing as well as a very surprising thing that happened in Tamil Nadu. Once in 40 years, a beautiful idol of Vigraha of Varadaraja is taken out from the temple tank of Kanchipuram. It is believed that this Vigraha is made up of fig wood. So he is called Atti Varadar. If you remember, the year 2019 was replete with people standing in queues. Now there is a beautiful Pasuram in Tamil of the 6th century by Boodattalvar who says, Attiyuran Pullayurvan Animaniyin Tuttiser Nagattin Mel Tuilvan Mutti Marayavan. So this is a beautiful Tamil verse that sings praise of Atti Varadar. There he says Mutti. He says there are 3 kinds of fires. What are those 3 kinds of fires? People who propitiate fire in the morning and in the evening are called Agnihotris. Now, I'm sure we have heard of Agnihotris directing movies as well. Erstwhile, they used to engage with fire. Now, this is the place where that is conducted. If you see a circular Agnikundam on the left, you see a square-shaped Agnikundam at that corner. Now, how will we use this? So the rule is, the area, whatever you construct the circle has to be the same area of the square, which means side into side has to equal the area of the circle. But for circle, there is a certain element which we need to bring in. That's called the pi value. Because you've got a pi r square, wo pi aana chahiye. So how do we design that? Aryabhatta gives you a formula. He says, Chatur adhika shatam. Shata is 100. Chatuhu is 4. Chatur adhika shatam. 4 more than 100. 100 plus 4, 104. Ashtagunam. Multiply it with 8, he says, which makes it 832. Then he says, Dva sashti. Sashti is 60. Dva is 2. Dva sashti is 62. Sahasranam 1000, 62,000. So he says 62,000 plus 832. 62,832 divided by Ayuta Dvaya. Ayuta is 10,000. Dvaya is 2. 2 into 10,000, 20,000. 62,832 divided by 20,000. Vritta Parinahaha. Using that value, you construct the Agnikundam, which will be 3.1416, which is the pi value. So this pi value is given by Aryabhatta using the same formula. So our assumption that just because we had a 8-semester course in engineering in a Mudichur road or somewhere, we are the ones who are replete with mathematical knowledge, and people who lived before us were barbarians and uncivilized and did not know anything will just put us into a very, very worthless bauble. So people knew much before us. I'm sure 80 years before, if you would look at your great-grandmother, she wouldn't have read Maslow's hierarchy or the SWOT analysis, but she knew with 8 daughters how to manage her finances and get them all married. And with 1 child, we suffer to the core today what to do. So my point is to never look at the past with an element of disgust or with an element that I know and they don't know. Now, this is simply to say how pi value is derived. This is how formula work. Now, this is, typically if you're from Kerala, you will know. This is one of those vessels which is available in different sizes to make a payasam where you buy A2 organic grass-fed milk in the morning and then put it into it and use an entire cylinder of gas, and by the time it's 6:30, you'll be having a very, very sumptuous, delicious cup of payasam. So this is a big uruli which they bring in the temple of Kerala. Now if I talk of payasam, I'm sure we've got savory specialists here. In the morning we had Krishna Sweets, so there are so many brands. Sweet Karam Coffee is here, so there are so many brands here. But when you think of payasam, there is one payasam that comes to the mind of all of us. It's a place called Ambalappuzha in Kerala. And how is this payasam so very famous in Ambalappuzha? There is a charitram to it. It says that there was a Raja called Chembakacheri Devanarayana. This Chembakacheri Devanarayana had so much time to play a lot of indoor games that one day he wanted to engage in the game of Chaturanga, which is chess. So it is said that he was so very flamboyant and turned arrogant that he thought nobody could win over him. There was no Gukesh then, but then he was wondering who can win me over. That is when it is said that the Lord appeared as a very frail old woman, and she said, I would like to engage in a game with you. And what was the challenge point? So she said, as I keep winning, we need to keep a grain of rice on the first square. So she said, as I keep winning, it needs to get doubled in the consecutive squares. He thought it was into 2, it was square. So by the time they completed the chess game, the king realized that to give her that amount of rice, he needs the entire rice production of the world from Vietnam to every other country and has to wait for 10 years. So this is the calculation of how much rice had to be given. It came to about 1,600 times the global production of what we have today. That is when the king said, I will not be able to supply you in one go. That is when the Lord is said to have revealed in an ethereal voice that instead of giving it to me at one go, take a handful and start making payasam out of it. Until the end of Kali Yuga, all your metric tons would have gotten exhausted by then. So today, till date, even during the COVID times, because I heard one of the panelists from Kerala speak from demonetization to GST to 2 years. So even during the time of COVID pandemic, payasam was made. I don't know how many of them came and consumed, but to keep up the promise of the metric tons of rice to get exhausted, this was done. So number game is just not about how much numbers I know, how the past has dealt with it. This is one. Do you see this 100 rupee note? I'm sure many of you would have gone cashless, but in this beautiful country of India, this is the 100 rupee note that we all see. Do you see a monument there? You know what monument is this? It's called a Rani Ki Vav. Rani Ki Vav is found in the state of Gujarat, and it's near a place called Patan, and it's a beautiful stepwell. It is said that in the 11th century, there was a king called Bhima I, and he went on a war expedition. And his wife Udayamati thought, she knew that her husband is so valorous, filled with prowess, that he will win over the war and he will come. She thought of gifting him something unique. And knowing the water crisis around that region, she constructed a step well. And when her husband returned victorious from the war, she said, take this step well. So this step well is a UNESCO heritage site that you see in your 100 rupee note. This is the wall of the step well there. If you go to that step well, which is still usable, you can go there. On the walls, you see beautiful patterns. Now, there is a story. There were a group of people who lived in that region because in Gujarat, the line Tropic of Cancer passes. Tropic of Cancer is 23 degrees north. And Surya, sun god, is called by various names. One of the names is Saura. Hence, that place where Saura is revered is called as Saurashtra. So people who lived in that part of Gujarat around this stepwell, they were called Saurashtras. And since it was a very arid region, agriculture was not very prominent, they were engaged in making textiles. Now to make beautiful textiles, you need prints. So they used to walk down the stepwell, look at these patterns, and then used to make block prints on that sari. That is called patola in Gujarat. So this stepwell is what makes it very special. Now, came the 13th, 14th, 15th century of invasions in Gujarat. So people who had to protect their family and themselves and their lives and their livelihood started migrating from Saurashtra of Gujarat, came across Maharashtra, Karnataka, and came to Tamil Nadu and settled around Madurai. Because Nayaks, Tirumalai Nayaka and all of them ruled, and they found a safe place there to live. Now Saurashtras came and settled in Madurai. But they felt so very dejected that they had to leave their place. They found that their entire life was a zero. Because of all numbers, zero is so important. Zero is called as shunyam. in Sanskrit. That, when colloquially said, becomes sunnam. And that became a certain print. The zero that you see became a print called sungudi. If you see in Madurai, you get the Saurashtra people who make that sungudi, right? So when they thought that their life was empty, they came with zero, and that zero became the design for sungudi. So how Saurashtra of Gujarat has traveled zero all the way to Madurai. It doesn't stop there. Now the moment they started seeing some greener pastures in their life, they thought of dedicating this to the goddess of Madurai. And till date, every night, Saurashtra people in Madurai dedicate a white sungudi sari to Meenakshi every day. So this number system has not inspired only prasadams, it has inspired even textiles. So this is that picture that completes it. Now, the entire concept of this numbers that I thought, going slightly tangential to my regular management or spiritual lectures, was to say that we have always been a country that has relied and respected mathematics to the core. Even people who sit by the elevated platforms outside their traditional village houses called Tinnai are called Ganapati. Ganapati means people who calculate and recite Vedas. So Ganam means counting. And we have completely relied, else you wouldn't have beautiful temples constructed if people had no idea of what numbers were. So even our simple recipes are about 7-cup cake. So take this one, take this 2, take this 3, take this 4. Right from food to mathematics to textiles to architecture, this country has relied so much on numbers. So this entire presentation, a very short presentation in a very short period of time, because trust me, in IIT Mumbai, IIT Bombay, we have a department where one of the very learned scholars called Professor Ramasubramaniam heads it. He deals with how integral calculus came from the state of Kerala through a school called Sangamagrama. 350 years before the Europeans could find integral series. So this is a beautiful research that all of you should read called Madhava series of Kerala, which has been researched in the IIT Bombay department by Professor K. Ramasubramaniam. So if you take from Manjula Bhargava to Professor Ramasubramaniam to Srinivasa Ramanujam, this civilization has loved mathematics so much. So now I am way past my assigned 32 minutes, so which is also a number. So everything is a number game. So I would like to thank all of you for your patience. So, you know, there is food outside and food for thought as well. Keep munching the numbers as well as the food so that we start loving mathematics, because in my humble personal opinion, mathematics is a subject that you can never hate. It just loves, and imagine all the numbers translate into money, you'll start loving mathematics even more. Thank you.
Did you want this session to stop? There you go. That's how amazing it was. Thank you. And thank you for celebrating our wonderful culture and reminding all of us, from the food that we eat to the saris that we wear, there is so much richness in us that no other civilization, no other country can compete. Ladies and gentlemen, India is awesome. India is amazing. Thank you. Thank you so very much for reminding us about the richness of my beautiful country. On that note, may I please invite Mr. Ramesh Ramakrishnan, Chairman, Transworld Dubai, to honor our wonderful speaker on the stage.